It truly is amazing how many different meanings there are for words. Some words are often construed to mean so far off from their dictionary meanings, it's amazing. Time also has a significant effect on words, as well as culture. Some words we say here in America mean completely different things to other countries. Previous to this assignment, I thought the word shadow was a fairly straightforward word. However, upon actually cracking open a dusty dictionary, I found that shadow has some other definitions aside from the typical area from which light is blocked. It can also mean a shelter from danger or observation, an imperfect and faint representation, a reflected image, and an inseparable companion and follower. There are quite a few verses that refer to the safety and love to be found in God's shadow. David often wrote in Psalms about being drawn into the safety of the shadow of God's wings. Keep me as the apple of your eye. Hide me in the shadow of your wings from the wicked who assail me, from my mortal enemies who surround me. Have mercy on me, O God. Have mercy on me, for in you my soul takes refuge. I will refuge in the shadow of your wings until this disaster is past. He also writes about the love and peace to be found there. How priceless is your unfailing love. Both high and low among men find refuge in the shadow of your wings. Because you are my help, I sing in the shadow of your wings. Because of this sin-stricken world we live in, we sometimes feel the effect of Satan's work. But we can rest easy because we know how the story ends. God reigns victorious. So why not relax in the cool shadow of God's love? But there is more to be found in his shadow than just safety. Normally when we hear the phrase in someone else's shadow, it has a negative connotation. We are outshined by someone else, making us unnoticeable in that person's shadow. No one likes being in the shadow of someone who's better academically, athletically, or some other such thing. But I think being in God's shadow is a desirable place to be. As Christians, we want to draw the world's attention to God, never to ourselves, keeping God in the spotlight so people can see his love, goodness, and grace. When we step out from under God's shadow and try to take credit meant for him, we have a serious problem. Only God is worthy of acclaim. God is God, and we are not. His job is not ours. Shadows represent a reflected image. Ideally, as his followers, it is our job to reflect God through ourselves to the world. Unfortunately, we are only human and sometimes stumble while trying to deliver our message. Shadows are also described as an imperfect and faint representation. I think this is a pretty adequate description of us. Imperfect. Only God is perfect, and we know that. All we can do is represent God to the best of our ability. This is where the faint part of that shadow definition comes into play. Because we are imperfect, we are unable to project the true magnitude of God's glory. Even in the best of circumstances, we are only able to convey a faint reflection of it. When we get to heaven, I believe we will be so completely blown away by God's unchanging glory and greatness. Though everything about God is unchanging, we humans, in contrast, change dramatically and frequently in our short lives like shifting shadows. Psalms 102:11 says, "My days are like the evening shadow. I wither away like grass." Shadows are not permanent. They come and go with the passage of time. Like them, eventually we will fade away. Before that happens, though, we have a choice to make about where we want to spend eternity after the second coming. Will we fade away into nothingness or become solidified in Jesus? Personally, I choose the latter. Now, despite the other fascinating definitions of shadow, I have to say my favorite definition is an inseparable companion and follower. I so want to be inseparable from God in my relationship with him, and for all who know me to see that I am a follower of him. So I strive to be in his shadow, to be his follower, giving glory to him, reflecting his love for the world to see, and knowing that he wants nothing more than for me to be in heaven with him, away from the evil of this world.
Is that it?